Great. So you are officially welcome to another live coding session. And as we continue building our currency converting app, uh, this is the third time we are meeting for this particular project. And hopefully today we are able to get to the point where the application is able to help us convert from any currency to, one currency to the other, irrespective of what the currency is. So let's try running it to see the current state of our application. If I run this, say Python, then converts bots. Okay. So when you run this, the first thing is a prompt that says list of available currencies. That is what we've catered for so far right now. We have from currency. So let's say we want to convert from Ghana cedis. So I choose one to the naira. That would be 5. And my PC is running very slow today. How much do you want to convert? I want to convert 1,000. Oh, I've made a mistake. This is not going to work because we've not configured it to convert from one currency to the other. Currently in its state, it's only able to convert from USD to another currency, or from any other currency that we have to USD. So yeah, that's how come we had the error there. So today our goal is at least to fix that error so that we can convert from any currency at all that we want to the particular currency, like to any other currency. So now if I do from Ghana cedis to USD, how much do I want to convert? I want to convert 1,000 Ghana cedis, and that gives us 71.94. Okay, then if I want to convert from USD to Naira, so I want to convert 71.94 to Naira, and that gives us, oh, why do I make this mistake? Sorry about that. So I was supposed to choose the currency. That would be from USD to Naira, and Naira should be number 5 before I go and enter the figure, which is 71.94. Okay, so this gives us 50,358. 50,358. And the reason I did this was for us to see that we're trying to convert an amount of what is it called, an amount of 1,000 cedis to Naira, but then we needed to go through the USD first. And when we converted it to USD, we got 71 point, what is it, 71.94 USD. Then we converted that 71.94 to Naira, and this is what we are getting. But then there is a caveat here that we would have to pay attention to when we are doing our calculation. The caveat is that here the final value we're rounding to 2 digits, but when you are doing the calculation and you've not gotten the actual final value, you don't have to approximate, because if you approximate, it's going to affect the final value. So we'll need to take care of that. But then this is the code that we currently have from last week, and we'll need to make some modifications to this part to get this code working. And we tasked ourselves to go and look at it and see any way that we can implement it for it to work. And I want to believe that at least those who were here last week, you probably spend some time on it and try to come up with some possible solutions to this problem. So yeah, let's go to the board and write down some things. So now our goal is to be able to convert from one currency to the other. right, from one currency to the other. And already what we have done on our own so far is we've done from a currency, a given currency. So from a given currency to the USD, we've done that already. And this was achieved by dividing the amounts by the rates that will be quoted. So amount by rates, that will give us the value. Then the second part that we have done so far is from USD to a given currency. And how we achieve that is by multiplying the amount by the rate. So this is what we have working right now. But then we need to know how do we convert a given currency to like another one. We've all established that we'll need an intermediary step, that is convert this to USD first, then convert the USD to the other currency that we are looking at. But since we already know how to convert a given currency to USD, it becomes simple. Let's take that amount of money that we were given here. If we are converting from a given currency as we have here, it's the amount divided by the rate. So we can do the amounts here divided by the rate for this currency to USD, that specific rate. Then when we are done, this value that we get, which is our USD here, we are now going to use that value, which remains as this amount over rate. Then we multiply it by the rate of this other currency. I hope we are seeing what I'm saying. So the example that I gave earlier was converting 1,000 Ghana cedis to Naira. And the assumption we've been working with so far is that the base currencies that we are using is the USD, and the rate that we are giving ourselves is that 1 USD is equal to, I think we use 13.7 Ghana cedis. So let me correct that. 13.7 Ghana cedis. Then when it comes to the Naira, we said 1 USD is equal to 700 Naira. So if that is the case, to convert 1,000 Ghana cedis to USD, the first thing we'll do is 1,000 divided by 13.70, and this gives us the value in USD. Okay, so we could go ahead and do the calculation. Say 1,000 divided by 13.7, that's around 72.9927. So over here, it's not good for us to do an approximation, because if we do, it may affect our final calculation. So we may even want to carry this whole value like that. But then for now, there's an amount in USD. We've converted from Ghana cedis to USD, and we need to convert this USD value to Naira. So what do? We pick that value 9927 and we multiply it by the Naira rate, and that gives us, so let's multiply this by 700. It gives us about 51,947.89. This is the equivalent in Naira. So at the end of the day, we've been able to convert the Ghana cedis to Naira, as you can see here, but then in two different steps. The first step was to convert the Ghana cedis to dollars. Okay, so we converted it to dollars. And how did you do that? The amount in Ghana cedis divided by the rate quoted for that Ghana cedis value. Then the value that we get, that's the final amount we get for the in USD, we multiply it by the rate for the Naira to get the value in Naira. So it makes the whole thing simple. Basically, all that we need to do right now is, if you have a from currency, okay, so here in our case, the from currency was the Ghana cedis, right? Then the to currency was the Naira. That's what we were working with. If you have a from currency, the first thing is we want to convert this from currency to USD. Then we want to convert from USD to the to currency. For that matter, how we are going to get this is the amount that you are giving us, right? Divided by, because here we did a division. Vuyo, there is noise coming from your background. Hi, Vuyo. Okay. All right. So the amount that we want to convert, which in our case is 1,000 Ghana cedis, divided by the rate that we're given. So the rate from currency, right, will give us this particular one, the from. Then when we have gotten it in USD, so now this will be converted to USD. We multiply it by the rate of the two currency. So we've simplified it now. If I need to convert from one currency to the other, all that I need to do is that the amount that I'm given divided by the rate of that from currency. Comparing it to the dollars, remember that the rate that will be given is all with the base currency as dollars. Then multiply it with the rate for the two currency. Okay, so this is rate, this is rate. So essentially that is all that is happening. We can equally go ahead and abstract this to say that it's basically the amount that we've been given that we want to convert. So amount to be converted times rate of the two currency divided by rate of the four currency. This is getting a bit mathematical, but then you should bear with us. We have amount times the rate of the two currency, right? So the currency that you are converting to, then divided by the rate of the from currency, and that gives you the exact amount you are looking for. So since, well, let's go back to the code. In this code that we have here, we have the implementation such that we pass the amount calculator, which is a function we've created. We are going to pass the amount to convert to it and the rate. So we will need to generate the rate, this particular rate, before we pass it to that function. So we can summarize that rate to be this and say rate is equal to our rate of the two currency divided by rate of the from currency. If we are able to get this rate, now the final amount will just be equal to amount times this rate, right? This rate that we've calculated. So when the person enters, like when we give them the prompt to enter which currency they are trying to convert from and which currency they are converting to, we have to generate the rate by doing this calculation. It's as simple as that, right? And I feel that this can help us simplify something that last week, and I think even last 2 weeks, one person was suggesting. I've forgotten who exactly that was. Was it Steven? Forgotten who exactly that was. But then I think it simplifies what they were saying, and we'll get to see it soon. So this means that in actuality, we can use this to even do all the calculations. Instead of going to check from and to, we could actually ignore the checks that we are doing with the if and else statement here. But then for now, let's still go ahead and do the checks. Then when we are done, we'll try and remove the checks and see how they work. So yeah, let me create a new file. Hi everyone, I hope you are following and you can see what is going on. Today I don't have much of the energy to be oh, what did I copy? Goodness, I need convert all. So let's make this convert all.py. Convert all.py. And open it up. Great. But if you have questions, just go ahead and ask the question. Okay, so I'm just pasting the code that we had previously, and let's see what we can do. So here we're checking if the from currency was the USD, else if it was this. I mean the currency 2 was the USD. If it is neither of them, and we are assuming that you are going to be entering the right rate for now, then we can go ahead and check. Okay, go ahead and do calculate the rate. So for each of them we're calculating the rate, but we've established that for if it is not any of them, so if the two currency is not USD and the from currency 2 is not USD, that's when we want to do what we are about to do. It's not USD. Maybe when we are done, we'll refactor the code. But for now, this is what we are doing. So we could even just do, let's say, an else if rather, and say else if currency from is not equal to 6, and currency 2 is also not equal to 6. That means we are not converting from dollars or to dollars. Then what do we want to do? If it is neither of this, we want to say that the rates that we have is actually equal to, remember we did our calculations earlier, the rate is equal to the rate for the two currency over the rate for the from currency. So all we need to have here is pass, what is this rate? Oh no, sorry, this should be the currency dictionary, right? So you, for now, let me get rid of this and write it out. So we have currency dictionary. That's where we get the actual rate from, because we stored it in there, and it's supposed to be 2 over from. So we'll do currency 2, then this will be divided by the currency from. So currency dictionary, but then currency from, yes. So this should give us the rate that will enable us to do the conversion. And I feel that this is practically what we have even done here, except that for here the from was 1, and for here the 2 was 1. It makes so much sense right now. Okay, so hopefully just by adding these 2 lines of code, our program should now be able to handle all of, like, any type of conversion that is in here. So let's try it and see how it goes. My PC is very slow today. Oh god. Okay, so Python, oh no, Python convert underscore all dot py, and let's run this. And we are trying to convert from Ghana cedis, which is 1, to naira, which is 5. Excuse me, naira, which is 5. Where is the 5? Okay, then let's convert 1,000 cedis as we did earlier, and it gives us the value 50,359.71. So yeah, if you saw earlier when we did it, it gave us an error because it couldn't do the calculation. But then right now we are able to get it without an error because we factored that in. Very simple. Does what I've done make sense? Hi everyone.
Yeah, look, it makes
Okay,
sense.
great.
Yes. What I'm just looking
Mm-hmm.
at in that code is that the else if statement can actually like cater for the conditions as you have mentioned.
Yeah. So
Do
we
you understand? Like
we
instead
could
of
actually
doing
get,
the if else,
yeah. So I think that's the next part that we are going to do. And that's the interesting thing about programming. Sometimes you start off thinking through the problem, you see it from one angle, then you start writing it and you see another alternative that looks like way better. But then I wanted us to finish what we started to make sure that it is working, so that when you are moving on to a different thought, you know that if that doesn't work, like you should be able to troubleshoot it or debug it because you have a working one. So now that we know this is working, we could easily go to the different format where we are not going to use these statements, because this thing is perfectly fine for us now. So I can go in here and create another file and call it, let's say, convert.py. Let's have it like that, convert.py. Then I'll open this and add, no, that wasn't what I was looking for. Convert.py. Search for convert. Oh, the file hasn't been created. Oh damn. Okay, so my network isn't really helping today. Paste all of this here, collapse this one, then, so yeah, what you were saying, we can now go ahead and get rid of all of this. We don't need to do any checks because whatever the to currency is and the from currency is, for as long as it is present in our dictionary, we should be able to generate it, and that simplifies our codes. But then we would have to do some form of defensive programming. That is, you have to make sure you are checking to ensure that the person really selected a number between these numbers and didn't give you just any number at all. But even going forward, we may have to desist from using the numbers, because if we have, say, your app should be able to convert like 50 different currencies, are you going to present 50 options? Like your app just opens up and is showing people 50 different options. That will not be the best option. So if you are using a graphical user interface, then obviously you may want them to have, let's say, a drop down that they choose their currency from, or start typing and it pops up, something like that. But then this is just a basic implementation for us to get something working. Once it is working, then we can find our ways around it. Yep. So let's see if our new version also works fine. Oh, okay. So clear this. Our new version was called convert, right? So we just open Python converts. Oh, I just type Python twice. Convert. Mm. Convert.py. Sorry. What is wrong? Okay. So yeah, we want to convert 1,000 Ghana cedis to naira and see how much that is. So 1,000 to naira, and yeah, we get the same answer. So that works very fine. This is not it. That should be convert.py. Oh, it's even here. Oh, it's here and here as well. Okay, good. So yeah, this works fine now. We'll probably need to start making some changes here and there instead of using these numbers. Yeah, but any questions about the implementation so far? So now, based on this rate, we can convert from any currency to any currency at all that we want. Any questions concerning that, or any suggestions, something else that you think we should include in this basic form for it to be more functional, or we should try something else? In fact, it's supposed to be a project for us to be learning from. So something that you're thinking about that we should try. Yes. Anyone? Yes, anyone? Okay. Mm, no one has a suggestion or anything of that sort. All right. So if there is nothing like that, then we have to proceed. And by proceeding, what's the next thing we need to do? So now we have a very functional application, but the only problem we have is that our app has hard coded values in it, and we may not want it that way. Like, we should have like dynamic data, in that the rate shouldn't be hard coded in it. The rate should be updated as and when the forest rate is actually, or the exchange rate is actually updating. Because the last time when we started coding this, the exchange rate for the Ghana cedis was like 13.9. See, 13.9 here, but as at today I think it's around either 9 cedis or 8 cedis or something. So yeah, we can't have our code. We can't hard code everything in here like this. Somebody was discussing something with me today, and I think it ties in with what we are doing right now. It was talking about, even though the Ghana cedis, the exchange rate has dropped like that, in favor of the CD. When you are making online purchases, like somebody made online purchases and still like they are using the very old rates that is quite expensive to charge them, and it was asking why. So it depends on where the application is getting the exchange rate from. So if the source of the exchange rates for that application hasn't changed, even though the Bank of Ghana, which is like the official do I say entity to announce the rate for us, has made some changes. So far as that banking platform or e-commerce platform that you are using still has that particular rate, or their rate from a different source, is going to affect it. So that's what we need to guard against right now. We need to go with something that can be easily, or will be updated on a regular basis. And to help us do something like that, we'll need the data. That we cannot go and gather the data every single day, every single second, and update it. So there are platforms out there, or companies out there, that collect some of these data sets, and they prepare them into like some sort of an application that you can use your own application. You can connect your application to theirs so that you get the data from them directly. Okay, and that is what we refer to as an API, an application programming interface. So it serves as an interface between our application right now and the application of those people handling the data. And what we are going to do with it is that it's going to help us get the exchange rates anytime that somebody is coming to use our app to do conversion of any currency. We'll get the current rate based on the data that that company has or is offering. So yeah, we'll need to go online and start looking for an API that can get the job done. I think I came across one some time back, except that I don't know where I kept it. That is a problem. Let me see. I usually put them in one of my Telegram groups. So give me a few seconds. Let me check if it is here. I don't think it's here. Otherwise, we would have to just check online if we are going to get an API as such. No, so I can't find it. Yes, so there may be a lot of APIs out there. You would have to choose one of them. And we should also know that some of these APIs come at a cost. Some too, they have documentations to guide you. I mean, almost every API out there will have their set of documentations to guide you as to how to use it, depending on the programming language you are using. So when you find one that suits your case, that is one you can afford. Some of them, their models is we call it a freemium model, where you use it for free for up to a certain number of requests. So anytime you send a request, I mean, you want to pull data from them, that is a single request. So in a day or a month, depending on how they charge, they restrict you to a total or a maximum number of requests you can have access to, beyond which you have to pay. So there are APIs like that. I'm not talking specifically with the API for currency converting. That's not what I'm talking, or the exchange rate API, which we are yet to start looking for. But then generally that is the model. In fact, this platform Rapid API gives you a lot of APIs that you can use for such purposes. Rapidapi.com. And there are some APIs that are totally free. That one you can use for as long as you want and you don't have to pay anything. So yeah, we'll now need to check for the various APIs and what's. So let me do a simple Google search. Free exchange rates API. So let's see if we get some. And let me show you an example of how is it called? An example of a free API that I use. I think yesterday I was talking about something I did, a quote generator, and the API that I used was practically free. So yeah, let's see this if it opens. Okay, so exchange rate.host. It's a simple and lightweight free service for current and historical foreign exchange rates and crypto exchange rates. Exchange rates.api. Okay, so this looks like one that I've visited already, and this as well. Okay, so let's see. Fixer provides a free, simple, and lightweight API for current and historical foreign exchange rates. Oh, yes. So this this is one of them. It's something I tried building some few days ago, and basically it's picking this code from, I mean, it's getting it from an API. So if I click on new code, it goes to grab, that is a new request, it goes to grab the code from that particular site, or I mean their API. Through their API, it gathers the data and shares with me the codes and the author of the codes. Then I display it here, so you can have as many as possible. And because it is free, I can go ahead and use it like that. Okay, but as I said, some of them, they are freemium, some are free, and some too are premium, where you have to actually pay for it. And as I said, each of them may have its own learning curve, that you may have to consume the documentation to understand how it is done. So today, what we'll do is that we'll just pick and choose one of these APIs that we are going through. Then we'll all be tasked to go and read on the implementation of that API in Python. In fact, some of the platforms, when you go, you have the code snippet for the language that you are looking at. They will give you the code snippet and you just copy it and incorporate it into your code. So it becomes very easy. But then for most of them too, you need to create an account and generate what we call an API key that will be used to configure it. And also, like, authenticate you when you are trying to, or your app is trying to make a request to their server. They want to make sure that this is coming from an account that really exists. And in most cases, when you are working with such an API, the API has to be, it has to be, I mean, the code has to be a secret code, because if it is opened and somebody gets your source code like that, they can easily get access to that platform and utilize the data. If you are buying credit to use, or you are paying for their freemium or premium API, then the person or whoever gets access to your API code can also use it as well and consume your credit. So in most cases, when you are building your APIs, you'd want to keep your API key, usually the secret key, as a secret. And mostly you can achieve that through using the key as an environment variable that you kind of import into your application, or you use the environment variable in your application. Yeah, so let's see. My network isn't really helping, but I feel one of these should be okay for us. Here they are telling us you have 250 monthly requests, forest data for hundreds of currencies around the world, and this is how it will come like. So we are given, this is interesting because this particular one, it's from the pound to other currencies, unlike what we were thinking initially, that most of them are from the USD to other currencies. I want to believe that this platform is from the UK. If it's from the UK, then it's understandable that they will do this from the pound to any other currency. Yes, so if we want to go with this, then we would have to start thinking about it as, hey, it's from pound. See here, the source is pound, from pound to the other currencies. Then let's see what this is. The base is USD. So here it is USD to any of these currencies. I feel that, but then Feza is a simple, lightweight API for current and historical forest exchange, foreign exchange, forest rates. They have sign up for free here. So let's check the pricing, because sometimes they'll say sign up for free, but it's not free. So we have to check that. These people are saying 215 monthly requests. So at the end of the day, what it means is that until you exceed that 250 requests, you are not paying. But as soon as you exceed the 250 requests, you have to start paying for it. Hey, this is my network. Can you guys hear me? It doesn't look like my network is going through. Come on. Can anyone hear me? Wow. Can you hear me? Hi. I hope I've not been talking to myself all this while. Can you hear me? Did I go
Yeah, I
off?
don't come off my mic again.
Hi, did I go off?
Yeah, you back on. You back on now.
Oh, okay.
I think yeah. At the point that I couldn't hear you, I noticed your network was bad or
Oh,
browsers were showing.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry
Okay.
about
So we're
that.
back on now.
Sure.
It's okay, sir.
Yeah, so
All right.
as I was saying, we'd have to look at the platform, like the cost of the API that we are going with. So this one that we have here, these are their plans. You have 250 requests maximum per month. So far as you don't exceed 250 requests per month, then you are not going to be charged.
Okay.
But anything beyond that, these are the prices. Hmm. Then with this particular one, we have up to 100 requests per month, beyond which you are going to start paying. Oh, I thought there was supposed to be a very free one, like one that is free. Ah, is it the same platform? They look the same.
Mm,
Or am I getting confused? Because I can see API layer, but then there are different charges. What is happening? This is $14. This is $9.99. Are these people trying to play on our intelligence, or it's just, oh, maybe it could be okay. So API layer is just an API marketplace. So it's just a platform for
Oh,
people
okay.
to sell their APIs. All right. So then what we have to do is we are going to choose one of these, whether this particular one or this one. But then we have to make sure that we are not going beyond the total number of requests per month. How are we going to do that? We can achieve this by, there are a number of ways around it. Because anytime somebody tries to search, sorry, let me bring out my notes. Anytime somebody tries to search, there is a request. So, like the number of times we're testing our application, all of those ones will be counted as requests if we are pulling directly from them. So, what we can do is to ensure maybe we would only reach their server, like say once or twice in a day, and that's possible. I believe we should be able to code something like that. And anytime we reach their server, we'll probably grab all the data. Okay. So what happens is that when you make a request to the API is going to return the data that you want in JSON format. So what we can do is that we can store this data that is returned in a JSON file. Then anytime somebody is trying to check for the exchange rate, or try to convert from one currency to the other, we wouldn't go and make a call to the API, but rather we'll pull the data from the JSON file. Right. We pull the data from the JSON file because the JSON file belongs to us. We've stored the data in there, so we can reach it as many times as we want. But then the only time that we are going to call this, that is going to count towards the number of times or the number of requests. So we can do, since we have, let's say, up to 100 per month. 100 per month means that we can be doing like 3 requests per day, right? 3 requests per day, and that should land us around 90 requests per month. So we can write code such that the API or our program should only reach out to the API, say 3 times in a day. Is everything I'm saying making sense? I don't know. It feels like hi
Yeah, yeah.
is okay. 3 times in a day. So now we have to figure out all of these, how you are going to be able to do this. One, how am I going to make, so one, how to make a request to an API, make a request to an API. Then two, how to maybe how to, how do I say it? We want to only make the request at certain time intervals. So practically what we can do is we can set up cron jobs to be doing that. There is something called cron jobs. If you haven't heard of it before, you can set up cron jobs on your computer or on any server. And these cron jobs are like for repetitive tasks. You want them to do tasks at a particular time. Let's say after every 6 hours, I want you to send a request and update the data with this file. So we are going to set up cron jobs for that, and that will depend on whether you are using your own computer or you are using a server. So if it is a platform that others are using, if it is if you are hosting your application, then you would have to set the cron jobs on the server that you are working on. But if you are serving it locally, let's say you are just for testing purposes and you still want to do that, then you would have to set the cron jobs on your own computer. Okay. But then the reason I'm bringing it up is it's something you should know about, irrespective of your level. It's something you should be in the known of. So let's try and read around it, how to set up cron jobs to make the request on our behalf. So cron jobs, to how to set up cron jobs to make requests three times three times three times daily. Then afterwards we also want to see how to store the data in a JSON file. So the response that we get, how do we store it in a JSON file? Then after we stored it in a JSON file too, how do we access the data from the JSON file? How to access the data from a JSON file? Then once we are able to access it, we'll be able to use it in our application. And in fact, we have done the coding part of our application already. All that we need is to get the rate from this particular file that we are going to be creating. That's all. So we want to figure out how we are able to make a request to the API, get response, save that response in a file so that we don't always have to go back. In fact, if you have money and you can afford it, you don't need to worry yourself about putting the data in a file or setting up cron jobs. No. Anytime you make a request, the request goes straight to their server and brings you the data you are looking for. So that is possible. But since we don't have that, and when we create the account, we don't want to exhaust it. And at least it is a learning path for us to be able to learn all of these various things. Okay, it's a good challenge for us to go through. So yeah, we can try this. Maybe the yeah. So what I would suggest is that let's go reading around this. Okay, let's go reading around these 4 steps and see how we implement it. So cron jobs, you can set up cron jobs for anything or everything that you want. Like your computer to do something after every set of minutes, set up a cron job for it. Okay, so read on it. It's very interesting. And is there something else that I've left out? uh, I thought we should have. I think the last time I was reading around it and I came across a free. They all write free, but then you go inside and you see that there is something. Okay, so this looks like it should be free. I hope it is. Open access, no key required. So if it is not free, as in free where we don't need to pay for anything, there wouldn't need to go and do the cron job part. Okay. And I feel that if we are starting and we get something like that to use, it becomes easier when you've been able to figure out how to use the API. So the other step of getting the data and store it in a file becomes also a bit easier on you. So we should also look at that. I can't see pricing here, but I can see plans. So I don't know what plans they are talking about. We have to check. But then this is what it looks like, the base and two. So that is if you care for a single one of them. Okay. And the base is this, and these are the tools, the various rates. Okay, with your API key. Anyway, so let's see. Let me check the plans before. Oh, so you all have this 300 requests per month, and you can't do more than one request per second. So all these things are important, especially if you are using it to write an application that is going into production. Like you are going to make it available for the usage of people outside there. And especially when you begin to get traffic, like you should concern yourself with all of these details. But then maybe when you are starting, you don't envisage all of this, so you start with anything at all. But along the line, you realize that your application is being used by thousands of people and the likes, and you are now exceeding. But then when you get to that bridge, you will learn how to cross it. I thought we'll find a very free one to use. This is free API key required, no attribution, update once per day. Okay, 1.5k requests per month. At least this looks fun enough. Hmm. But once it is updating once a day, it means you're also not getting like the most accurate data. Okay, see the pro version here, you're getting every 60 minutes is updating, every 60 minutes, so that you get the most current form. But that's not our end goal. Our goal is just to get the data up and running. So I wish we could settle on one of these that we are going to use. Then we all go and read about it and see how to use it. So which ones do you suggest we go with? Now there is this one, then this one, and I think two others that we saw earlier. This and that. Which ones do you suggest we go with? Any suggestions? Hi, any suggestions? Hi, 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 hi.
Um, hello, doctor. You can actually choose anyone since nobody is talking. So I just joined that. I don't know much about it.
Okay, sure. Alright, so let me see. Fixer API. Um, Let me go back. I think I want to choose the one that the base was USDS. So this one, the base was USD. So yeah, let's take a look at this and we'll use that. So let me put it in the charts. Put it in the chat. Yeah, so I've put a link in the chat. Let's do all to what is it called? Let's do all to read on it and try and implement it. In fact, it's best you try your hands on it. Then when we come, it becomes easier. Okay, so try implement it on your own and let's see how it goes when we get here. You can go to the documentation and read on how to use it. Then because as if you are going to work as a back end engineer, you are going to be working more with APIs. And even if you are working as a front end engineer, there are points in time you need to know how APIs work so that if you are asked to build a front end, you know how to integrate that API into your front end application. Hi, is someone saying something?
Okay, sorry, I can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had to. Um, I mean, I'm having this challenge. Like I
Mm,
said, a challenge of using my phone because Discord is not really. I can't have my way around on my
okay.
PC. So
Okay.
I think I had a call when
Mm,
you're actually asking which of the APIs you could use.
okay.
Personally, I don't really know about API really much, so I
Mm,
would say you make the choice and then it it take us all around.
yeah. So yeah, okay, that's fine. So right now we have settled we're using the fixer.io and there's the documentation. So all you need is I mean start reading around it and how to use it. If you need any help, you can just talk to the Chat GPT AI. The Chat GPT AI will help you to figure it out. But then yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to learn how to use it. I think for those of us in ALS Code 7, yesterday we started working on making requests to APIs. So it's quite interesting that it's came at this very time. When I saw it, I was very happy that at least it was just before we came to do something here like this. But then it whichever whichever cohort you are in or whatever level you are in your learning journey, knowing about APIs is great because then even when you're working solo, you can build something remarkable using someone's or leveraging someone's API. You don't have to go collect the data by yourself. Like I showed here in an example, this thing, it took me not more than 2 hours to get this thing done. Like even it was just because my network was even messing up at the time. It was just basic HTML CSS. Hey, give this thing a border, create this, I mean a background color, create this one, create a button, this. Then the rest is how do I get the API to put this data in here? That's all. Then I think the last thing I had to figure out was how to make this code link to work such that when I click on it, like right now, when I click on it, it's able to take me to Twitter for me to be able to post it. So you see that something simple like this, but at least it is functional. And I am not writing the content in there. Somebody has done the hard work for me. And I was earlier on going to show you. So yeah, this is okay, it's still loading. But I was showing you Rapid API. Okay, this is what it looks like. But I configured all of these things, like title should be quote of the day. Oh, title should be quote of the day, then the body of the quote followed by the author, then the source, which is the link to where I'm currently hosting it. Okay, and I didn't do much of the work. This is a very simple application that took some few times to build and very important. So here, when you come to Rapid API, oh, I think where you have Rapid API Hub, is that it? I hope I'm not in the wrong place. Because usually when I come, I just come to where the APIs are. Solutions by developer. Oh, let me just do a Google search. Rapid API. Even yesterday, I was checking it out. Okay, free public APIs for developers. Yesterday, I was checking it out and looking at the various APIs that are available and what one could build out of them. So, in those instances, it becomes easy. Like a weather API, here I can see weather. Yes, I was even thinking about this Google Translate API, where you build a simple platform that can translate from one language to the other. And all you need is the Google Translate API. So, you just need to create your interface and use the Google Translate to do it. In fact, since we are working in Python, we could write a simple Python application that does that, but then using the Google Translate API. So there are quite a lot of APIs that you can use to do meaningful things. But then before you would make good use of all of these, you would have to appreciate how APIs work and the likes. So that's why it's important for us to go through what we are currently doing so that at the end of the day, we all know how these things are and how to utilize them so that we are able to build, I mean, logical stuff out of it or relevant things. So if you come to Rapid API, they give you a snippet. So I want Python. Let's go look for Python over here and let's use request because that's what we'll mostly use. And this is a simple code. How you are going to use it in your application. Very simple. Like very, very simple. So you copy this and send it into your code. But then if you don't understand how these APIs work, it's going to be a bit challenging for you. So let's take that upon ourselves as an assignment to go and read on how to use the API. At least we have given an example, which is fixer.io that we are going to use. Okay, so let's do that, and God willing, next weekend when we meet, we would incorporate the API into our application. But now our application is functional, it's able to convert, except that we have limited data because we don't have the rate for every country. But when we begin using the API itself, then we'll now have access to all the rates for a lot more countries, and then we can do that. We can use it to convert from any currency to any currency. Any questions? Any questions, suggestions, submissions, additions, subtractions, anything? Yep. as I said earlier, today I was very tired, so I didn't even think we'll go this far. But then once our application is working the way we wanted it to work, I'm happy. We said we should look at fixer.io. I hope that is it. Fixer.io, the foreign exchange API. How we are going to use it, right? Then we should also learn about, I mean, using cron jobs to make requests. Cron jobs, setting up cron jobs to make requests on our behalf, and storing the data, storing data in JSON file. If you are in cohort 7, we have done that already before, so it becomes easier. And that means that those of us in the ALS program, you know that in the course of your program, you are definitely going to be learning things like that. So it's always good to be knowledgeable of the things that you are supposed to be, you are going to be using. Yeah, so let's look at that. If there are no concerns, then we may be bringing the session to an end. Any questions? Still, the code is available on this platform. You can always get it if you want. In fact, everybody should go grab it, copy it, create a GitHub repo for yourself, and put the code in there. Test it, play with it, and the likes. Yes, anything. I've put the link to the code in the chat.
Okay.
Hi, Kamina.
Yes, about the Rapid API.
Okay.
When you decided to create an account, did they ask you to put in your credit card details or something? Because I've
Oh,
tried to
okay.
use Fetch API. I've tried to use Fetch API and they told me to uh, put in
Hmm.
my credit card details before I could consume the data. That's why I'm
Oh,
asking.
okay. For Rapid API, I don't have an account with them yet. I may have an
Oh,
account,
okay.
but probably it's been a long while, so I don't remember. But then with the one that I used for this one, it was a free API that didn't require me signing up. But the other thing that of recent times I do is, if it's something I don't want to be charged for, I usually use there are two ways I go about it. Either I use like an expired credit card, but then change the dates because they don't verify those things. So if it isn't something that I'm supposed to be paying for, like here, I want to just be using the free APIs and not consume anything that I'm supposed to pay for because it's just for testing purposes. I'll just put in an expired card. I think two of my cards expired this year, so I have them on me, and any such cases I'll put it in. The other thing that I have also done a couple of times is I use virtual cards. But virtual cards, depending on the bank that you are working with, I save or I bank with EcoBank, and they give us like you can request for a virtual card anytime, and that virtual card I don't put money on it, so I use it for as and when, like I send money to the virtual card as and when I need to do a purchase. So it doesn't like I don't get to be charged. That's what I mean. So you can get like probably an expired card with the number. They just need a valid number. The CSV, is it CSV or yeah, CSV code, then the expiry date. So you don't have to put the right expiry date there. Put something that hasn't expired. Then you'll be fine. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So that means thanks for prompting me. I'll probably have to go to the fixer and try and create an account before next week so that when we come I don't have to go through that same issues. Okay.
Okay, Doc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi. Yeah.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I probably would have asked some questions, but
Okay.
I really don't want to ask some missed. But what I would want to do, let me just run through the code first. You
Okay.
said you're dropping it on the chat already.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, I want to love to go through the codes already. I don't know the recorded session if you're going to drop them on Telegram or where. I don't know.
Yeah, the video will be uploaded to YouTube. Then the link will be shared
Okay,
in the various groups. Yeah, so
okay,
I think this is
okay.
the third time we are meeting on this particular currency converter app.
Project.
The very first one we couldn't
Okay,
record due to some technical issues, but the second one we
okay.
recorded it and the
I
yeah.
think I was only in the first
Oh, okay,
session.
okay. Mm.
So because of that, there are a lot of because I was not in the
Oh,
other session,
okay, okay.
I missed out a lot of things.
Mm.
So that's why I've been kind of quiet
Yeah,
somehow. I want to really get through the codes and
okay,
understand a lot of things.
all right.
Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for introduction to Mimo. I think it's really a good app
Oh, okay. Mm.
to run. Yeah,
Mm.
it's taking me through. It's taking me through a lot of things in Python,
Happy to
and
hear that.
I can see that it's really basic. So
Mm.
in fact, I'm enjoying the ride already. It's just like playing a game.
Hap-
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I think some other thing. I wanted to. I tried searching for your link on the Telegram. I don't know
Mm.
if I can get that.
As in the link to the Telegram group.
No, not the Telegram group. And oh, okay. Also, you in the Telegram group, there was a Telegram group. You said a
Mhm.
channel you called is it progress report, right?
Okay, in that
I
is in Discord. Progress report
okay
is in
in
Discord.
okay. I checked for it on Telegram. I didn't
No,
find it
no.
actually. So which Telegram group? I mean, yeah, which channel? Um, is really the
Okay.
very active one because I think I'm just in one channel
No.
on Telegram, please.
On Telegram, you know, Telegram is solely for ALS related things. Like our Telegram group is solely for ALS related stuff. So anything outside ALS,
Okay,
we don't easily put it in there, except like
take it to
announcing
okay,
events and things that are coming on. But every other thing is here
okay,
on Discord. And Discord, we have
yeah,
different channels that you can just go through and find. Yeah.
okay, all right, no problem. That would be beautiful. Thank you
Mm.
very much. I'm
You're
grateful.
welcome. Yeah, so just a quick one. The what we did was that we created multiple files. So right from the very first time we had main one, we worked with main one. Then after we were making some updates, so this was the very first one that we worked on. Then we went to main two, main three, then now we came to convert both. Then we did convert all, and now we just have convert. So those are the steps that we've taken so far and how far we've come. I wish I was actually pushing these codes to GitHub so that you could get the flow if you clone it or something. But then it's all good. It's here. You all can have access to it anytime you want. Hi Barokin. You're welcome. Yeah, so I think we
Hello.
are yeah,
Sorry
you're
about.
welcome.
Thank you.
Unfortunately we are done for the day. So
Yeah, it's
what
late.
we've been able to figure the conversion out. We did it easily with just one line, which is this: the actual rate that we are looking for is equal to the rate of the currency to which we are converting to, divided by the rate of the currency from which we are converting to, and that gives us the rate. Then we pass it into our function that we created. So the only change that we've done to our code is just the rate part. And last week we ended with this is what we had last week. So at the end of the day, today we did, first of all, we did this where we brought in, if the from is not the USD and the to is not the USD, then we are using this rate, which we deduce through some mathematics, and we realize that anytime we want to convert anything to, like, from one currency to the other, it's always the currency of that currency, I mean the two currency, the rate of the two currency divided by the rate of the from currency will give you the actual rate. So this works fine, but then we realize that just this line can represent all of them. So in our final code, we have gotten rid of every other and we've just kept this line. Then the next thing is for us to now expand our application to be able to cater for all currencies and not just the ones that we have here, and also get dynamic data for the rates and not rely on what we have hard coded in here. So we needed an API to do that. So I've talked somehow on APIs and their essence and why we need to learn about them, and we have decided to go with Fixer.io's API. And for that matter, we've tasked ourselves to go and read on the API and how we are going to be able to access it. So that next week, God willing, we are going to use the Fixer.api to incorporate it into our application. The issue we found was that if we don't have the money to pay for the access to it, which is based on the number of requests you can make in a month, what we can do is we can do the interval request. Like, we don't have to send a request to the API every time someone is trying to convert a currency, but then we can do it like with time. Say in a day we make 3 different requests: morning, afternoon, evening, something like that. If we want to, if we have, say, a maximum of 100 requests per month, then we can do 3 times daily, and that should be fine for us, and we aren't going to pay anything. To be able to do that, it means each time that we make a request, we should be able to store the response to that request in a JSON file, then grab the data from the JSON file and use it in our application. So next week, God willing, we are going to try and do all that. For that matter, we should go and read about how to make a request to an API. Remember that the programming language we are using is Python, so you learn about how to use Python to make requests to an API. Then you learn about how to set cron jobs, which I explained. They are just basically what will enable us to schedule the time for making a request. So you learn about cron jobs, and in fact in your daily lives there are things, if there are things you need to do on interval basis, you should be able to set up cron jobs to do that for you, whether on your computer or on the server. Then we also learn how to store the data in a JSON file and how to access the data from a JSON file. Then finally incorporate all of this into our application, and we'll have a working application before we now look at converting this whole thing into an object-oriented one, and also building a graphical user interface for application, and finally making it into a standalone application that is installable, something like that. At least is our end goal. So yeah, we've come far, and I hope you all appreciate what we have said. And I know very well that we have a lot of work, especially when the week starts. There are a lot of things for us to do, but then I just hope that we make to to at least read on some of these things and figure them out, so that when we gather here, it becomes easy for us all to contribute and learn from one another. Before we close, let me ask this question. Today's date is 17th. That means that next week is going to be 24th, right? And for the Christians amongst us, I don't know if you would be available on 24th night for a meeting. So what do you suggest? Let me hear from you. Do we take a break from our meetings and resume after some time? What do you suggest? Yes, I'm going forward to stopping the recording, but then let's discuss before I end the session. What do you suggest?